at Genesis 37. I guess we'll start around verse number 22. You know the story here of Joseph and how his brethren despised him because he was, why do you think they despised Joseph, as far as you know about the story? He what? He was what? A dreamer? Huh? That's what they called him. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, uh, let's just tell it like it is. His parents had a lot to do with his brothers hating him. In our families, we have to be careful when we have children that you don't favor, y'all ain't liking this, one more. They can tell it. And then he had a dream where he interpreted the dream as his brothers and the mother and father bowing down to him. Let's pick it up here. And let's look at verse number 20. Come now, therefore, we'll look at 19. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh. They saw him coming. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into hands to deliver him to his father again. Reuben was trying to save him. It came to pass when Joseph come unto his brethren that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of colors that was on him. They took him and cast him into a pit. The pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread. They had no conscience. Now, Reuben had an idea that he was going to come back and get him out of the pit and bring him back to his father. But the other brothers, I think it was 9 of them total, they figured he would die in the pit. And it didn't bother them. It's time to eat. Let's sit down and eat. That's cold-hearted. I'm still in 25. And they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah, that was one of the brethren, said to his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Now, even in the pit, he was still in God's favor. And we got to understand that. In your in your personal life, in the pit, if you are, hear me now, not leaning to your own understanding and doing stuff your way, and you are following the Spirit, then you are in God's favor. And there's a scripture that tells us, and you don't have to go there. Yeah, it's very simple. 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. You don't need to turn there. For we walk by faith. Finish that. Not by sight. What that mean? Mm-hmm. See, because you govern your steps, your response, and your emotions by what you see, you're going to get the wrong response. He's telling us we walk not. Now listen, you got to understand, what was God's plan here for Joseph? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And in order to do that, he had to get him where? Into Egypt. Into Egypt. You got to understand this whole plan being thrown into the pit. It was all in God's plan to get him into Egypt. Oh, sir. Listen. Every one of us in here should be on our way somewhere in God. We should not be still. We should be moving in growth. God should be taking us somewhere. And you need to ask yourself, Lord, where am I supposed to be in my walk with you? How many times have you heard us say this? God saved us, took us out of the world, but he didn't take us off of the planet. He saved us, but he left us here to do a work. And if I'm not moving in Christ Jesus, I'm not fulfilling the mission. And we all got one, and if you don't know what yours is, you need to ask him. Why did you save me? And his whole plan for Joseph was to get him into Egypt. So, verse 27, come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought him into Egypt, still in God's favor. Now, if you had have asked Joseph at that time, while he was in the bottom of the pit, very likely he could not have seen God's favor. And that's where we are sometimes in negative situations. We got to understand that God takes us through stuff for a reason. Now, I ain't talking about, hear me, what you caused. You know, I can be disobedient and cause stuff to happen to me. But I'm talking about when you are walking with God, with all you know, and these issues come up on you, you can rest assured that you are in God's favor. Lord, I didn't do nothing to bring this upon myself. I must be, and I can't understand it. That, you see, we have a tendency to want to rationalize what's going on in our life. And you can't find a reason for it. Tisha, you can't find a reason for it. Joseph, it wasn't his fault that his brothers hated him. It wasn't his fault that he had the dream. The dream came true. The dream came true. They all came down and bowed down before him in Egypt. Oh, shut. Verse 28. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. You see, that was Reuben's plan. He returned to the pit by himself to get Joseph out, but Joseph had been taken out and sold. 37. Hold on a minute. What did I finish at? 20, what? 20? 29. And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not, and whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of goats and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. Jacob was an old man at this time, and this being his favorite son, how do you think he felt when he seen the coat of many colors that he'd given him? And one theologian surmised this, that he could only, when he said that, let me find it. Yeah, in verse 33, and he knew it and said, it's my son's coat. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. Now, my question is, how could he look at the coat and surmise that Joseph had been rent in pieces? It was blood on the coat. One theologian suggests they must have ripped the coat to make it appear that a wild animal had got a hold, because that's what the father surmised. That's what he thought. I'm in 34. And Jacob rent his clothes, put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard. Now, this was the second time he's been sold as a slave. His brothers sold him to the Midianites for 20 pieces of silver. And now they take him down into Egypt and sold him to Potiphar. Now, where's the favor? It was no way that Joseph would have went to Egypt at the unction of God. Why? Why did God have to use this method to get him into Egypt? I want to think about his home life. He had it made where he was. Favorite son in the family. Living good. No problems. Well thought of by his mother and father. What did he leave for? Now, maybe God has to treat us in a way to move us in a certain direction that he wants us to go. 2 or 3 reasons why we don't. Number one, we don't know the voice of God. Number 2, we don't want to. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes. I didn't want to be a pastor. I've told y'all that. I didn't know that I could be. But after God talked to me and let me know that I'm the one that called you, don't worry about what the people say. I'm the one that called you. Shabbat. And so he had to move me in a direction he wanted me to go because I didn't want to go. But I tell you what, I'm so glad that he didn't have to put me in a pit. He didn't have to lay me up on a bed of affliction to talk to me, to get me to do what he wanted me to do. Saints, I was guilty of leaning to my own understanding. I don't understand how I can do this. And it ain't me that's doing it. Y'all ain't hearing me. And whatever God has for you to do, it is not you that's going to do it. He's saying to you, let me use you. That's all he's saying. Let me use you. That's so now he's been sold here. And you all know the story. Let's go to Genesis 50. Wait a minute. Go to Genesis 39. I got to read that. Genesis 39. Yeah. I want to read this, and then I'm going to come up on it later. But Genesis 39 and 21. This is after, at Potiphar's house. Y'all remember what happened at Potiphar's house? Somebody tell me. Yes, she did. Yeah, she wanted him to hook up with her. Y'all hear me, don't you? Yeah, and he refused. And one day he went in the house and wasn't nobody in there but her. Went in to do his regular chores or whatever it was. And she caught him, grabbed his coat. Yeah, come lie with me. And he told her, he said, now look, my master, your husband, has put everything under my control, everything up under my authority, everything except you. And he ran out of his coat, and she was holding on to it. You have to run sometime, don't you? Y'all ain't talking to me. And she falsely accused him. She called the people or whoever, and then she held his coat till the master got home, and he said, well, you know, he put him in jail. And this is where I pick it up at right here on this one verse. Look at verse 20. Genesis 39:20. And Joseph's master took him, put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. Now look at the next verse to the first comma. Read to the first comma. In prison. When I got falsely accused, I'm still with you. When folk talk about you, I'm still with you. When folk run your name down, I'm still with you. 21 say, but the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him, there's that word, favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Don't worry, Joseph, you're still in my favor. I didn't say it would look like it. Oh, Shabbat. I didn't say it would meet your standards of what you think my favor is. But let's just believe the Lord when he say, you are still in my favor. Oh. Verse 22, and the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand, put it under his authority, all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not at anything that was under his hand. Whatever you do, I don't care. I trust you. That's the kind of favor you got. Go ahead and do it. I'm not even coming behind you to check you. I don't know. I have experienced favor. I've experienced favor in more ways than one. I was working before I retired, and it was increase time. Once a year, we get an increase. You go in and you talk to your supervisor, and I think it was the manager. So we talked, and then my supervisor left the room. And he told me, he says, I'm going to show you a favor. He says, Schofield, I have cut others' increase to give to you. Favor. favor. I've seen God dismiss people that had came against me. I've seen him do it. Favor. I'll show you. Favor, hear me, is better than money. Gosh, Deacon Wright asked me a question the other day. He said, Pastor, if God would offer you two things, what would you ask for? I think one was for the church to explode. And I didn't get to the other one. He said, well, Pastor, if you ask for wisdom and knowledge, he'll show you how to do it all. He'll show you how to do it all. Wisdom. And give me some favor. I'll show you. This is what Joseph had, but if we could have asked him in the midst of it all, surely he couldn't have testified that he felt like it was favor. And you may be like that. God, this stuff is going sideways. Here's the thing that you must always check yourself. Don't check me. Check yourself and see if I'm in the will of God. Let me ask a question here. How do you know when you're in the will? Don't y'all be quiet, huh? Okay. Oh, Shabbat. I know, God, that I'm straight with everybody. Y'all ain't talking to me. I know that I have obeyed the word as far as I know. Gosh, I'm going to check myself. So many times that folk want to point the finger at other folks. Come on here. I can't help what other folk do. It's me, oh Lord, that's standing in the need of prayer. No matter what you got against me, if I ain't got it against you, y'all hear me? If I'm clear with you, I can't help how you feel toward me. Oh, sure, yeah. Go to Psalms 30 and 5. You're all familiar with it, but we got to read it. Psalms 35. For his anger endureth but a moment. I dare say saints probably stay mad with God longer than he do with you. Oh, sure. His anger, endureth but a moment. In his favor is life. If I can remain in his favor, I may go through some difficult times, but life is in his favor. Not only that, one theologian put it this way: his favor lasts a lifetime. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me for 3 weeks. Yeah, somebody know the word. All the days. So his favor endures for a lifetime. But if you're walking by sight, it ain't gonna look like it. Weeping may endure for a night. How long is a night? In this scripture, how long is a night? Till the darkness subsides. That's why I got a problem with that record by Ty Tribbett. Weeping may endure for a night. Only for a night, though. Wait. You trying to tell me in 12 hours? How long? Anybody in here endured some issues for longer than a night? Y'all talk to me. Oh, she was. So I don't know what Tribbett talking about. Tears may fall down, only for a night, though. Well, tell me how long a night is. The night is as long as it's dark. But what he's saying here is daylight is coming. There is an end to this night because joy is coming in the morning. Oh, Shabbat. Oh, God. Let's go to Genesis 50. Now, after they have found out that Joseph is alive and is the Secretary of Agriculture in Egypt, I don't know if I need to, I know he went, let's stop for a moment. The Potiphar put him in jail. And while he was in jail, there was a butler and a baker that had a dream. And Joseph walked in on them one morning and noticed their sad countenance. And he said, "Why are you so sad?" They said, "Well, we had this dream. Each one of us had a dream, and there is no interpreter." Joseph said, "The interpretation cometh from the Lord. Tell me the dream." They told him the dream, and he told the butler, "Well, what your dream means is the king is going to restore you to your former job. You're going to be back in the palace." He looked at the baker and told the baker, "Your dream means the king is going to hang you." But he told the butler, he says, "When you get back into the kingdom, remember me. Remember me." And sure enough, the king had a dream and was troubled, and he called the magicians and everybody to interpret the dream for him, and nobody could interpret the dream. I'm talking about favor. And sure enough, the butler was present when the king spoke about nobody could interpret the dream. The butler said, well, Your Honor, when I was in prison, there was a man that interpreted my dream. Send for him, bring him here. And this is how Joseph's favor. He went thrown in a pit, sold into slavery twice, falsely accused of Potiphar's wife, cast into prison, all in the plan of God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Boy, don't we miss her. Evangelist Mary Jeffries with the pink pickup. Oh, Shia. Let me do a little sidebar here. I had been installed as pastor. She came to the office. She said, Pastor, these are her words, I just wanted to give you a love offering for your inauguration. God rest her soul. Yes, yes. So Joseph interpreted the king's dream, and you know the story from there. Genesis 15:20. And this is after Joseph's brothers had found out that he was still alive and he was down in Egypt. They didn't know it was him at first. And finally they found out that it was him. And he's talking to them now. Let's look at verse 18. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face, and they said, Behold, we be thy servants. The dream came true. And Joseph said unto them, Fear not, for I am in the place of God. Now this is after Joseph has seen what God done. Listen to his testimony. Verse 20. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. I was constantly in his favor, even through the evil acts that you done. You meant it for evil. Oh, Shia. But God said it was good. Who can bring a good thing out of evil one? Folks can do stuff to you and think it's evil. God said, no, that's why he said, count it what? All joy. Oh, that's hard. Oh, but you got to do it. Count it all joy. All right. Let's go to Genesis 17. And verse number 16. Let's look at 15. And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarah, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarah, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she will be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Verse 17. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. Sarah was not able to bear kids. And you all know the story. She told Abraham, go in to my handmaid. And she gave her handmaid to him to be his wife. And he went in unto her, and she conceived. And Sarah got jealous. My point here, don't try to help God out. All he needs from me is faith. That's all he needs. Faith, and from faith comes obedience. That's all he needs from me. But when you try to help God out, you run into trouble. And this is what she did. And that brought forth Ishmael. And verse 19, and God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. That was favor. And God did it. Sarah conceived a year from there and he said, you call his name Isaac. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Him being 100 and his wife being 90, and she becoming pregnant and delivering, do that sound like favor? That's serious favor, ain't it? That defied logic. That defied science. That's why he laughed. I'm 100, she 90, and you, what? I hope we ain't laughing at God when we've asked him to do something and he ain't done it yet. Shabbat. I hope we ain't mocking God. I wish I had a church in there. Oh, he ain't going to do it. Shabbat. I don't waited this long. Shabbat. Now, this is favor. I suppose that, well, let me ask you a question. Of the two, Abraham and Sarah, who do you think rejoiced the most over Isaac? Yeah, why? Mm-hmm. Right. She was barren, and it was a reproach brought upon women back in those times that had no children. So now we got this son. Go to Genesis 22. We got this son, Sheba, that we never had. Yeah, we got this son that, Lord have mercy, you done promised us that king's just going to come out of him. And nations is going to come out of him. You said all the nations will be blessed because of him. Oh, so 22 and 2. Oh, sure. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest. Get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. Lord have mercy. God, you worked this miracle. You opened the closed womb of my wife. You gave us something that we thought we would never have. You gave it to us. Yes, now you tell me to burn him up. When favor don't look like favor. Oh, Sheba. Abraham rose up, oh Shabbat, early in the morning, saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, went unto the place which God had told him. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship. Finish that. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. Took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. They came to the place which God had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. I got a question. Abraham is about now 125 years old. Isaac is at least that old, 25 years, because remember, he was 100. So how is it that a man 125 years old could bind a young 25-year-old strong man? That's a question. Oh, sure. He didn't struggle. Coco say. He didn't struggle. Bad if this is what you're going to do. Oh, let me see. Verse number 10. Abraham stretched forth his hand, took the knife to slay his son, and the angel of the Lord called unto him, Abraham, Abraham. He said, here am I. said, lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. I don't know, sometimes God will speak to us concerning maybe putting in a certain amount of money in the offering. And I got news for you. This man said this, and I thought that he was mocking God. He says, he was getting ready to receive the offering and said, well, the Lord told me to put $5,000 in this offering. And then he proceeded to say, I wish I had it. What's wrong with that? So he lying on God. God, if he didn't have it, God ain't told him to give it. But like Abraham, he said, me and the lad will go yonder and worship and come and we will return. What's my point? If God speaks to us to give X amount of dollars in the offering, he would not tell me to do it if I didn't have it. And not only that, he gonna bless me. And Abraham knew the same thing. If I have to take his life, God is able to bring him back. Oh, shot. This is why when God speaks to us to do certain things, we need, long as you know it's God. Now, don't let your flesh get in there to try to make you show off. Y'all ain't talking. But if I know it's God, that's why, saints, we need to talk to God so we can know what his voice sounds like. When he speaks to your mind and speaks to your inner man, that's God. I'm done with y'all. God bless you. Amen.